You see the headlines everywhere, right? AI is coming for our jobs. But what if we're all so focused on the jobs we might lose today that we're missing a much bigger, quieter threat? A threat not to us, but to the experts we're going to desperately need tomorrow. I mean, look at this. This question from a developer on Reddit just nails the anxiety so many people are feeling. If you're just starting your career, it must feel like the ladder is being pulled up right as you're reaching for that very first step. AI can now do a lot of the basic entry-level stuff. So, where does that leave the entry-level human? But what if is AI taking my job is actually the wrong question? What if losing some junior jobs right now is just a symptom of a much, much bigger problem? A problem that could, kind of by accident, create this massive shortage of experts a decade from now. All right, let's get into it. So, the real threat isn't just about replacing jobs. It's about breaking the system we've used for centuries to create experts. Let's call it the expertise pipeline. And the idea is pretty simple. If you automate all the so-called grunt work today just to be more efficient, you might be accidentally cutting off the supply of senior talent you'll need tomorrow. This pipeline, it's how we've always done it. It's how mastery is built. You start with the simple stuff, the routine tasks, and that's how you build a real foundation. It isn't just about getting the work done. It's about the deep, almost invisible learning that happens while you're doing that work. Let's just walk through this for a sec. A junior person, let's call them a level 1, they start with that boring, repetitive stuff. But that's where they learn the ropes. It's where they make small mistakes they can recover from with a senior person guiding them. This is how you really master the basics and develop that gut feeling, that intuition. It's the journey from being a level 1 to a level 3 expert. So if you automate step 1, you risk breaking the whole chain. Just think about it. If an AI writes all the basic code, how does a junior developer ever get good enough to spot when that AI is making a subtle but critical mistake? Okay, I know this might sound a little abstract, a little what if, but this kind of disruption, it's not new. We have proof that this happens pretty much every time a major new automation tech comes along. And to really see how, let's look at a classic, and honestly, a really surprising example. To get what's happening, we have to go back in time a bit. Between 1995 and 2010, banks all across the US installed about 400,000 ATMs, cash machines. Their entire purpose was to automate the single most common task a bank teller did, handing out cash. So the logic seems totally obvious, doesn't it? You build a machine to do the main part of a person's job, so that job should disappear. But is that what actually happened? Nope, not at all. In fact, some fascinating research by the economist David Otter found something completely different. As you can see, while, the number of tellers per branch went down, the total number of tellers in the country actually went up. It went from about 500,000 to over 550,000. How on earth is that possible? Well, ATMs made it cheaper to open a new branch, so banks opened more of them. And the job of a teller completely changed. And this is the key takeaway. With the machine handling the cash, the teller's job evolved. It went from being this mechanical, clerical role to one that was all about relationship banking. Actually talking to customers, building trust, and helping them with more complicated things like loans or investments. The job didn't go away, it just leveled up. But, and this is the critical part, that original entry point, learning the basics of banking by counting cash, that was gone. And that brings us right back to the heart of the issue with AI. Because this new tech doesn't just automate tasks, it disrupts the way we've learned things for thousands of years. That classic bond between an expert and a novice, the whole idea of an apprenticeship, is being challenged like never before. Just look at this side by side. On the left, you have how we've always learned. It's messy, it's human, it's based on real conversations and a mentor guiding you. Now look at the right, the AI model. It's incredibly efficient, it's data-driven. It can pinpoint your weaknesses perfectly. But in that switch to pure efficiency, what gets lost? You lose the intuition, the back and forth problem solving, all that hidden knowledge you only get from working side by side with an expert. So this leads us to the core of what makes human expertise so valuable, and maybe, just maybe, impossible to fully replace. It turns out there's a kind of hard limit on what we can automate, and it's all wrapped up in this really fascinating paradox. It's called Polanyi's paradox. It comes from the philosopher Michael Polanyi, who famously said, "We know more than we can tell." Just think about something like riding a bike. You can't write a perfect instruction manual for it, can you? So much of that skill is unspoken. It's about balance and feel and things you just know from doing it. That's tacit knowledge. It's a foundation of real expert judgment, and it is incredibly hard to write down in code. And what that means is that the skills that are becoming way more valuable are exactly the ones that AI is bad at. Things like this: flexibility, good judgment, common sense, being persuasive, true creativity, and genuine human interaction. These things all depend on that tacit knowledge. Technology doesn't make these skills obsolete. It makes them the whole game. And this gives us a fantastic roadmap for the future. The economist Lawrence Katz calls these people the new artisans. And they're not just technicians, they are masters who can blend deep technical skill with these uniquely human abilities. They use AI as a ridiculously powerful tool that helps their judgment and creativity, not as a replacement for it. They are the new level 3 experts, and our big challenge is figuring out how to build a new pipeline to create them. So, if we know the old pipeline is starting to break, and we have a good idea of what the experts of the future need to look like, what do we do about it? I mean, this is a huge challenge, but it's also a huge opportunity to completely rethink how we approach learning and how we build skills in the first place. Think about this. Over 100 years ago, when the world was shifting from farms to factories, we made a massive societal investment in universal high school to get the workforce ready. We knew the world had changed, and our skills had to change with it. So the question we're left with is this: what's our version of that investment today? How do we build a brand new expertise pipeline for an age where the most valuable skill isn't following instructions, but judgment, creativity, and simply the ability to learn how to learn?